We are a river city, a bold city, the First Coast, a place to create and to belong. Here, the sun shines a little brighter, and so do the people. We share a love for our region, a pride for Jacks, and a passion for the beautiful game, dedicated to giving everyone a sporting chance. Together, we will elevate soccer and sport in our community by lifting every voice. We are Sporting Club Jacksonville. We are Sporting Jacks.
Hello and welcome into the Sporting Jacks Report. Along with Mauricio Ruiz, I'm Cole Pepper. Coming up, a closer look at where the U.S. men's national team stands as they await Mauricio Pochettino's arrival, plus the end of an era, as Alex Morgan, one of the all-time greats, calls it a career. And we take a closer look at the top girls soccer prospects in our area. But let's start with celebrating the 904. 904 Day, September 4th, 9/04, has become a great way to show support for all things local in the Jacksonville area. And this year, the club took the opportunity to show our support for the fans who have supported us from the beginning. At the Sporting Jacks headquarters, dozens of season ticket owners, depositors, and Sporting Jacks members gathered to spend time together and meet members of the front office. Fans also got to take part in a signing day, putting pen to paper, pledging themselves to the club. It was a great time to enjoy each other, food, drink, fellowship for fans of all ages.
I'm just really proud that Jacksonville finally gets pro official soccer here. The both see. I'm just really excited for when they start playing, you know.
As a parent, when you see the excitement,
I love his excitement. I love that he knows how to call a game. He's very invested in it, and he's trying to do his best to be a good soccer player. So that's my excitement.
Our journey starts about 2 years ago when he got interested in the Euro leagues, and it's kind of carried over into him playing here locally for Ponte Vedra, MLS, and now to USL with Sporting Jacks. So we're excited to have a team here and support the team and watch the players grow and hopefully go on to bigger and better things.
I think it's going to be better for the future when I grow up. It's probably going to come to me when I'm signing a real contract.
I love the excitement from the kids there, but really a great night to spend with the fans. So thanks to everybody who came out.
Yeah, it really was, Coy. And sometimes I'm in the soccer circle here in Jacksonville, so I kind of know some of the same people and players and coaches and so forth. This is an opportunity to meet some new people, really some soccer fans, if you would. And they came from all sorts of backgrounds and interest levels. Some just being acquainted to soccer, as you heard there, the Cruz family. He just picked it up a couple years ago. And you have another young man that's been there. He's been doing it, a couple goalkeepers that kind of came out. And just to see the kids kind of light up as the potential to, in part of the exercise, that they got to sign a club membership contract. Just a fun exercise. And the kids kind of lighting up and their families just thinking about what that could look like in the future for them.
All right, well, we'll look forward to another one of those next year on 904 Day. Time now for our Island Wing Company USL Championship Game of the Week. And this week, North Carolina involved again. Last week, they lost 6-4 to Louisville. This week, they were putting up goals again. To carry North Carolina we go. And boy, the attack has been working for NCFC, no doubt about that. It didn't take long to keep the scoreboard operator working. 6th minute off a header by Ezra Armstrong that hits the post. Rodrigo da Costa puts it away to give North Carolina a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and the header was so good that the Roots defenders actually stopped here. You can see on the rebound, they kind of stop, the ball comes back, and da Costa just taps it in for a 1-0.
Just 2 minutes later, North Carolina was at it again. Colin Martin sets up Rafa Mentingen, and a goal scorer's dream right here. 2-0 Carolina, Rafa on the goal.
Yeah, Cole, I'll keep it easy for you. His name is Rafa, really good soccer player, goes by first name. Colin does a great job of putting him in. He still has a lot of work to do, but just finds it the corner and puts it away.
No wonder he just goes by one name. North Carolina continued the attack. 32nd minute now, Mikey Maldonado the corner sets up the captain, Paco Craig, with a header to make it 3-0.
Yeah, and Paco has some making up to do from last week's performance, but he just elevates in that near post run, just towers over every Roots defender to dunk it in.
Still in the first half, 44th minute. Bad giveaway by Oakland, and it leads to this. Martin has it. Can't quite pull the trigger. Then he finally does. The shot is blocked, but right to Evan Conway. It's 4-0. For good measure, a second half goal. DaCosta sets up Ezra Armstrong. This is a beautiful bit of teamwork here. Make it 5-0. North Carolina wins it. They've scored 9 goals in 2 games, but only 1 win. The offense, though, clearly has been clicking.
Yeah, they really have. In this game, they figured out how to keep the ball away from their own goal, putting 5 on the spot. Last week, they put 4. Unbelievable performance back-to-back to North Carolina, and we keep hearing his name a lot. Ezra Armstrong just keeps being a high performer in every game that we see.
He'll go to a one-name guy if he keeps playing like he has been. Let's take a look at some of the scores from around the USL Championship. A lot of nil-nils mixed in there, but Colorado Springs, we'll talk about them in just a moment, winning 4-2, a big win there against Tampa Bay. Also, Pittsburgh Riverhounds starting to put some performances together.
Yeah, they really are. It's a good opportunity for the Riverhounds to get hot. They're making a playoff race right now, and you can see their Charleston Battery and the Republic. They had that battle for 1 or 2 in their division, and the Battery comes out on top.
All right, now let's take a closer look at the standings, starting in the West with New Mexico United on top. They're 10 points clear now of both Sacramento and Colorado Springs. Switchbacks have won 3 straight. Oakland Roots had an opportunity to jump forward. That is a tight spot there, though. 41 points from second place down to 38 points in 6th. There's a lot of interchange that could happen over the next month and a half.
Yeah, this feels like from last week, outside of really New Mexico and Sacramento, we mentioned Sacramento could have changed. It looks like a complete new standings because teams are kind of coming up. We weren't really looking at switchbacks. Maybe that's on us, but their climb is impressive.
Now looking at the Eastern Conference standings, brought to you by Got Sport. Louisville City has clinched a spot in the playoffs. The team at the bottom, Miami, has been eliminated. Everybody else still jockeying for position. And right now, nobody's really on that much of a hot streak. Pittsburgh, 2 wins and 3 draws in their last 5.
Yeah, they're really the team that's starting to make the push. Birmingham is starting to come down. North Carolina, as you saw, they're scoring goals. They're probably feeling good about themselves. And Indy 11 just holding their position. Detroit holding that position. But the battle at the top is still alive.
And remember, the top 8 from each conference make it to the postseason. Time now for Mauricio's Corner, and today, Mal, you're looking at a team that I think really has been kind of flying under the radar in Colorado Springs. We mentioned it. We haven't really been talking a lot about them, but they found a style that's really starting to work for them.
Yeah, in the Western Conference, as you saw, it's just packed with talent. The parity is really strong over there, too. So they were kind of sitting at 6th position most of the season, and now they're starting to shoot up. They had an opportunity to go to 2nd place. But they're a team that when they go forward, Cole, they go forward fast. I think that's what we're going to see on the clips here.
All right, let's take a closer look at what Colorado Springs, the Switchbacks, have been doing here in the USL Championship.
So you see that they're here, they're in black defending, and what I want to highlight is that every time they gain possession, they got a great forward player in Justin that can hold up the ball, Justin Dillon. But on the opposite side of the field, there's really where you want to keep your focus on. They get forward, you see them in black, making a run forward. Justin Dillon continues to make that run forward, freezes the defender, gets opportunities for the weak side players. One-on-one. This is early in the game. This ended up being a 4-2 win for them against the Rowdies. And you see here once again, hold up play. When they get forward, look on the weak side of the field. But based on what happened on the ball side, good runs in behind. Look what happens on the weak side once again.
Yeah, you see the attention that's paid to the ball side, and it really opens up some opportunities for the Switchbacks on the other side of the field.
Yeah, they really do. And so here's what they do great. So they're great at second chance opportunities as well. So once again, they regain possession. Good forward running from a defender now. Look all the more forward running from another forward and creates the space underneath the defense. And you can see their second goal in the game is another beautiful goal. But when forwards are running in behind, it creates space underneath. And you're going to see here coming up another example of that.
And again, in the same matchup with Tampa Bay, one of the better teams in the league, so they're doing this against everybody.
They do. So what happens? So I want to highlight the defenders based on that action. If you're forward running, the defenders have to backtrack, which once again creates that opportunity in front of the defense, and you get shots from distance, and they're 2-0 up. And as we mentioned, they went up 4-2 in this game. They're a team that have good possession, not great possession, but their goal differential is positive. They're sitting in 3rd place now with a chance to go to 2nd place in the league. But you can see the trend is that they run forward, they put you on your heels, literally on your heels, so that space in front of the defense creates opportunities for them.
And don't discount the altitude part of it as well. When they're up there playing in Colorado Springs, it's something to be contended with every time the Switchbacks play at home. We want to invite you to join us on October 6th before the Jaguars face the Colts for a youth soccer clinic in the Flex Field. Kids age 4 to 13 Can get coaching from JU soccer players and coaches from 10:30 to noon. And then watch the Jaguars take on the Colts. This is also the game where Tom Coughlin will be inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars. And it's the throwback uniform game. Entry fees start at $59, and there's also a deal for companions. For more information, go to the events tab on sportingjacks.com. Coming up, we hear from Becky Burleigh and get her thoughts on the retirement of U.S. great Alex Morgan. Remember, you can become a member of Sporting Jacks. It's absolutely free. Just go to sportingjacks.com to sign up. You'll get discounts on club merchandise, invitations to VIP events, entries into contests for prizes and experiences, and receive the Sporting Jacks monthly newsletter. Plus, you can put your deposit down for season tickets for the men's and women's teams. Just go to sportingjacks.com to become a member. Back with more right after this. The USL national broadcast schedule continues on September the 22nd. Detroit City hosts Louisville at 3 on ESPN2. And then on September 29th, it's a primetime matchup between Sacramento Republic and New Mexico United. That game also on ESPN2. Of course, all USL Super League games are streamed on Peacock. And we now welcome in, well, let's take a look, actually, a closer look at the USL Super League highlights. For the first time, the USL Super League had all 8 teams in action over the weekend. That included the first ever game for Brooklyn FC. Spokane getting on the board first in this one, though, with Taryn Reese putting the Zephyr up 1-0 in the 36th minute. Then penalty called on Isabel Nino, the Spokane keeper. That made Jessica Garziano the recipient of the PK, and she scores the first goal in Brooklyn FC history. Game ends in a 1-1 draw. The first home game in the new Lexington Stadium as Lexington SC hosted Tampa Bay Sun. 20th minute, Tampa's Carly Giamona winds up on a crossball right here. She just does touch it, redirects it to Natalia Stout, who puts it in. The visitors are up 1-0. 31st minute now, the same two combined. This time it's Stout with the high cross. Watch Giamona here making the backside run. And she is right on the spot to put it away. Tampa Bay wins it 3-2, first win for the Tampa Bay Sun. Carolina Ascent hosting Fort Lauderdale. 26th minute, we have an Olympico. Renee Guillon scores direct from a corner. Look at this one. Oh, that's perfectly placed. Goal of the year candidate, perhaps. And it happened early on. Take another look. She just curls it in to the back post, and absolutely nothing the keeper can do about it. Carolina wins it 2-1. They're in first place for the league, 2 points ahead of Tampa Bay. That is a beaut. Dallas Trinity hosting DC Power in the Cotton Bowl. 29th minute, bad giveaway in a dangerous spot. Jorian Balcom snags it and scores for DC. Power up 1-0. 65th minute rather. Similar goal on the same end of the field. This time it's Dallas with the takeaway. Julia Dorsey threads it to Sam Meza. 1-1 the final at the Cotton Bowl. All right, now let's welcome in Becky Burleigh to the conversation. We, instead of talking USL Super League out of the top, have to talk about the retirement of Alex Morgan, who played her final game this past weekend. Becky, your thoughts on one of the all-time greats calling it a career?
Well, I'm actually really excited to talk about Alex because having the chance to coach her in Orlando, you just really got to see what a true pro she was.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I kind of wonder about the impact when you start thinking about her, where she ranks among the all-time American soccer players.
Ooh, that's a tough one because there's such an amazing list there. But you have to put her up high, not only because of what her contributions were on the field, but also because of what she did off the field in works of equal pay, player protections in the professional ranks. She's done a lot for the sport.
So thinking about her impact in the sport, not just on the field, as you mentioned, but obviously off the field and what she's done. She's always been a huge advocate of women's sport in general. Where do you think her next role will be after she has some time to decompress, focus on the family? But where do you think her next role will be in relationship to the sport?
You know, I totally see her continuing to be an advocate for women's sports in general, but particularly women's soccer. You know, when the NWSL was going through the difficult time with some of the coaching issues they had, she was really like ground central in defending the players, creating safer conditions for players. And I think she's very passionate about that. And I could see that in an ownership leadership role. I could see that in a management role. I mean, she's a very talented woman all the way around.
Yeah. Well, Becky, one of the reasons for the timing of Alex Morgan's retirement is because she's adding to her family. She's pregnant. That's something that obviously impacts married couples with men playing professional soccer, but it's such a big factor for women, and I don't think enough attention maybe has been paid to that. It does seem, though, that there's more sensitivity or logic now being put to taking care of the athletes when you have somebody playing professional women's soccer who is adding to her family. It's something that maybe is about time that we're starting to pay a little better attention to this.
Absolutely, and probably it's about time, because women have been trying to balance a career with having children at the same time in this high performance space, and they've had to kind of manage that all on their own. I think Alex was sort of one of the pioneers that helped create some of those policies and some of those things that are supporting women to be able to do that. So that's just another way that she's contributed to the game.
No doubt about it, and I think she will continue to in so many ways, as you mentioned. Becky, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds great.
It's not too early to become a season ticket member of Sporting Jacks. Just go to sportingjacks.com and put your deposit down. $25 reserves your space for the men's or the women's team. And if you want to reserve your spot for both, it's just $40. Go to sportingjacks.com to save your seat for pro soccer in Jacksonville. Still to come, our youth soccer spotlight focuses on the best high school girls soccer prospects in the area. That's next as the Sporting Jacks report continues. Sporting Jacks will be unveiling the official kit in the months to come, but already you can get your own Sporting Jacks official merchandise, from t-shirts and hats to sweatshirts, and of course the scarf. You can find Sporting Jacks official merchandise at sportingjacks.com, at our official team store on Phillips Highway, and at We Got Soccer. Time now for our youth soccer spotlight, brought to you by the Bearded Pig. Last week we heard from Sydney Schmidt of St. John's Country Day. This week we want to continue the conversation about the top girls high school soccer stars in the area. In addition to Schmidt, there are several more top players to mention. There's no doubt about it. We talked about Schmidt, who is certainly among the greats. You talked about one of the top players in the country. She has committed to Florida State. Jenny Deary at Ponte Vedra is committed to North Carolina. You talk about another major program with heritage. That's a big-time pull.
It is. I mean, that just kind of goes to talk about the embarrassment of riches that we have on the youth girls side here in Jacksonville. For some reason, we continue to be a factory of top talent. I don't want to put too much pressure on these young ladies just yet. You put the burden behind them, but it's great to support them in their journey and to keep a close eye.
Deary, last year as a junior, 19 goals and 15 assists for Ponte Vedra as the Sharks earned the #1 ranking in the country. And mentioned her heading to North Carolina. Don't overlook Clay High junior Brooke Bunton. Like Schmidt, she's represented the United States on the youth national team. And like Schmidt, she has 2 more seasons of high school soccer. She's uncommitted thus far, but is being highly recruited. Mauricio, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the high school talent in our area.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we highlighted 3 here, 2 of them that are committed to top-level programs, but there are several of them that are going to college, that have just now entered their freshman year in college. We'll be representing power forwards and really local. You look at UNF Ospreys, what they're doing locally, had a great beginning of the season as well. And there's so many other programs that are coming into Jacksonville, to North Florida area, to recruit our young ladies here. So it's our job to keep up with them, see what they're doing when they leave this area here. So eventually maybe they can kind of come back and they can represent their professional club in town.
We look forward to speaking with some of the top prospects and coaches and other players coming up for the high school soccer media day that is rapidly approaching. Hey, be sure to join us every Tuesday night at 6 on 1010XL for the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour. That's on 1010 AM. You can also listen online or on demand at 1010XL.com. Still to come, we look ahead to the Premier League returning to action this weekend. That's next as the Sporting Jacks report rolls on. You can watch the Sporting Jacks report on Wednesdays at 12:30 on ABC 25, with re-airings over the weekend before the start of the Premier League broadcasts on NBC 12. You can also find us on demand on First Coast News Plus and the Sporting Jacks YouTube channel. Mauricio, you were in Kansas City for the U.S. men's national team against Canada. Jesse Marsh's side beat the U.S. 2-1. What were your big takeaways from that matchup?
that Canada is now a new contender in the CONCACAF region. It's no longer just U.S. and Mexico as the two biggest rivals. In fact, I think the U.S. has surpassed Mexico for the time being, but Canada is now, they're the noisy neighbor from up north, and they're here to stay. And the U.S., you know, it is what it is. They're in this weird phase of new coach. We'll talk about that. And players were just there for the occasion, but not really committal to anything.
Yeah, tough to see how the motivation comes. And obviously you want to play well, but you're waiting for Mauricio Pochettino's arrival, for him to start coaching, not just be there, but start coaching. Obviously that's a big thing. But you know, the only other big meaningful tournament you're going to have between now and the World Cup is going to be the CONCACAF Gold Cup next year.
Yeah, and you want to take all these opportunities that you have, even if it is a friendly against Canada, because it has a little bit of meaning to it. There's some local rivalry, of course. So for the players that are kind of your shoe-in players, as you think Christian Pulisic and Flo Balogun, you would want those players to take those games as serious as possible, because it's a little bit of their interview process for Pochettino when he comes on. And the French players, you definitely want them to take it serious. So it was weird that that the mood around the stadium was as of a scrimmage, as a friendly. I know that's what it's supposed to be. Canada didn't take it like that. Canada were on the front foot. They were pressing. They want to make a statement. So I'm not really sure whether the U.S. players weren't ready to do the same.
Well, after the international break, the Premier League is back to it this weekend. The featured game this weekend on NBC, Aston Villa hosting Everton. Everton's one of the two teams without a point so far this year. What are you expecting from this one?
Well, they really got to come out fighting. I mean, they're 0-3. They keep finding themselves in this relegation zone. They finished last year pretty strong to get themselves out into a safe zone, if you would. But it's too early in the season for you to be down 0-3. That's a challenging position.
None of that. Aston Villa playing at home, and this is a team that made the Champions League off of last year's fourth-place finish, and they're off to a good start.
Off to a good start, and they strengthened the team because of the Champions League position that they found themselves in. So they're better than they were last year, and they're facing a team that's in desperate need for points in Everton. Going away to Aston Villa, not an easy proposition for Everton.
Still early days in the Premier League, but this figures to be a big one for both sides. Thanks so much for watching the Sporting Jacks Report. Reminder to tune us in on social media as well. You can follow us on X, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. You see the handles there, Sporting_Jacks and Sporting Jacks. And we'll keep you updated with everything that's going on with the club as the days continue. For Mauricio Ruiz and Becky Burleigh, I'm Cole Pepper. Thanks so much for watching the Sporting Jacks Report.